is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today for an exciting review of the Shout Factory Scream Factory version release of Candyman, which is, at this point, this is about a 3-year-old release. I think this came out back in 2018. I purchased it back in 2018, even got, it came with 2 slipcovers, so that's cool. It's got 2 slipcover variations with it. But yeah, I got this one back in 2018, but I wasn't reviewing Blu-rays back then. I didn't have a YouTube channel, though I thought it would be fun because we have the new Candyman movie coming out this weekend, and I'm super excited to go back and revisit this one, rewatch it, and just remind myself why I love the film so much, and then share my thoughts with the movie and the transfer and the audio and the special features and the packaging and all that stuff. Just my thoughts on that with you guys here today in this review. But before we get into talking about the movie, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more great content. Also, be sure to hit that like button and comment down below if you have any thoughts on this classic 90s horror film, Candyman. Is it one of your favorite horror movies? Do you have this Scream Factory release? Let me know in that comment section below. I will be leaving the link to purchase this in the description. It will be an Amazon affiliate link, and if you use it, you will be helping support the channel. So let's get into it, guys. So Candyman is a movie that came out in 1992. It's directed by Bernard Rose, who, I was looking at his filmography, he doesn't really have a whole lot that I've really even seen or even heard of before. This is definitely, I would say, his most notable film in his filmography. This is based on a Clive Barker story called The Forbidden. There's actually an excellent special feature in here where they go into that story and just talk about how it influenced and inspired the film, and the greatness of Clive Barker as a writer and all of that stuff. So the movie is starring Virginia Madison, Tony Todd. Those are the 2 leads of the film. And basically the synopsis is a murderous soul with a hook for a hand is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monsters myth. So getting right into this, guys, I'll just get this out of the way right off the top. This is, to me, this is a perfect movie. I'm going to tell you my score right now. It's a 5 out of a 5 for the actual movie. I think it's perfect. I think that it's severely underrated. Obviously, like, everybody loves Candyman, talks about Candyman. They hold it up on a pedestal to a degree as far as like a great horror film. I still don't think it gets the respect it deserves. I think that it is Exorcist Shining Halloween level quality. I think just in terms of its social relevance, just in society and just its cultural impact that continues to grow over decades. I think that this is just one of the most important horror films ever made, and it's one of the best horror films ever made. And every single time that I watch it, it moves higher and higher up on my list of favorite horror films of all time. At this point, I don't know if I can get it into my top 10, maybe, but it's getting damn close to inching into my top 10 horror films of all time. I love this movie. It's fantastic. I watched it when I was a kid. It scared the shit out of me. You know, me and my friends, we would go into the bathroom and say Candyman in the mirror and do stuff like that. I remember the urban legend kind of, even before I saw this movie, people were talking about Candyman and saying it into the mirror. So it was definitely a part of the cultural zeitgeist back then in the early 90s. I probably saw this movie when I was, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old, probably in like 94, 95. I remember seeing the sequel as well, Farewell to the Flesh, and that one's, if I remember correctly, is definitely not as good, but that's one I really want to revisit at some point as well. And the third one, because I've never seen the third one. I've heard crazy bad things about it as well. So, but just talking about this movie as a whole, I love the movie. I love the movie. I think it's perfect. It's a 5 out of 5. I cannot find any faults in this movie. I love it. So I thought how I would structure this review is let's just talk about the things that I love about this film and why I love this movie so much. So getting into the first thing, guys, the thing that just sticks out from the very beginning of this film is the score. The score by Philip Glass is probably one of my favorite horror scores. It's probably at least in my top 5. I just think it's excellent every time I watch it. The way that it starts off, it gets right into it, that score in the beginning. It's just, it's fantastic and just, it's beautiful, it's haunting. Helen's theme is one of the best horror themes of all time. It's just, it's so eloquent, so scary, so terrifying at the same time, but also it's just so beautiful and enchanting, and it just draws you into the film and just instantly hooks you into the story and what's going on. And I love everything about this movie, but the score is definitely like way up high on the list of things that I love about it. So that score by Philip Glass is just absolutely fantastic. Getting into another thing that I love about it, I love that with your great horror icons, your great horror villains, characters, a lot of them have great backstories. I'm thinking of Freddy, the child murderer that got taken out by all of the townspeople, the people of on Elm Street, and got burnt alive and then came back to haunt their children's dreams. I'm thinking of Jason, who drowned in the lake after the counselors weren't paying attention to him. They were having sex, and his mom came back for revenge against them, and then Jason came back for revenge for the people that took his mom out in the first one. You know, you think of Michael Myers, who doesn't even really have a backstory, and that's what you love about him, the fact that you don't understand why he is the way that he is, but it's still a backstory, how he kills his sister and then goes away to the mental institution. Candyman has a backstory, an excellent backstory. In my opinion, it might be the best horror villain backstory. You know, this is a son of a slave who kind of grew up in a wealthy environment in the 1890s. He was a student of the arts. You know, he was a painter. He was an artist. Got in with a girl who he was painting, that a wealthy man hired him to paint his daughter, and then he fell in love with the daughter, got her pregnant. The father found out, didn't like the fact that an African-American male in the 1890s impregnated his daughter, and then he sent a lynch mob after Candyman to cut his hand off, which of course is why he has the hook for the hand, and then basically sicked the bees on him after covering him with honey, and he died of hundreds of bee stings. And then they burnt him, and then they spread his ashes over Cabrini Green, which is the slums of Chicago, the poverty-stricken area of Chicago that we see later on in the film. And then that's why Candyman haunts that area and comes back when you say his name 5 times in the mirror. So it's just such an awesome setup to this character. And it makes Candyman both a super scary, terrifying figure and also a sympathetic character as well. You feel for Candyman and what he had to go through in his life. And yeah, it's such a rich and deep character. And I think it's a great backstory, probably one of the best horror villain backstories that we've ever gotten. We've also got a very deep social commentary here on the treatments of blacks in America over the span of 100 years. You know, you go into just what happened in the past with slavery and how they were treated back then in the 1890s, even when they were technically free, and then going all the way into the early 90s, of course, going into just how blacks were treated with, you know, various housing projects and where they were kind of placed in the inner cities and how they were kind of trying to keep them segregated, just going into that and the crime bill and just the race relations and where we were at in the early 90s. You know, around this time, you had the beating of Rodney King. You had a bunch of race riots and stuff going on in LA. This is just an extremely important film and a really relevant film, not only to back then in the 90s when it was made, but also to today with everything going on in the world now. And it just continues to just permeate throughout our society, not just within the horror genre, but just as a landmark film in general. So I appreciate it for that. You know, I also appreciate just how they portray Candyman in this film. Obviously, excellently portrayed by Tony Todd. The performance is fantastic in this film. His voice, just the voice of Tony Todd, just the "Be My Victim," and even the scene where he debuts in the daylight, which I also appreciate. There's a little bit of scene with him in the beginning, standing behind the girl in the mirror. You get to see a glimpse of him, but his actual debut in this film is in the daylight in the parking garage, where he's just saying, Helen, I am the whispers in the classroom. I am the writing on the wall. And just his whole like monologue and speech is just so chilling and eerie. Just the tone of his voice. Tony Todd, like nobody else can play this character like Tony Todd. I really hope that he has a prominent role in the new movie. So yeah, I love his debut in the daylight. You know, when you have Freddy debut in Nightmare on Elm Street, it's in the darkness. A lot of the horror villains, it's always they debut in the darkness. You can't see them. But I love like just his silhouettes and like the sunlight, how you can't see him. It feels like he's in the darkness, but it's light, and just how the light's shining behind him and the way he just stands there, his stance is just so good. I love everything about Tony Todd's performance in here. You also just have some excellent cinematography and direction here by Bernard Rose. Like I said, I haven't seen any of his other movies. This has to be the most notable thing he's ever directed, but he did a fantastic job with this movie. I don't know why he didn't do more in the horror genre. Just going into like special features and talking about everybody that worked with him and stuff, and just talking about how he fought for certain things. He fought for the seriousness of this movie. He believed in this movie and this project just as a serious horror film. And, you know, I think that they wanted to get Eddie Murphy to play the role of Candyman at one point. He fought against that because he didn't want it to be a comedic type of movie. And he fought for Tony Todd to take on that role. And Tony Todd even helped him write this movie because Bernard Rose wrote the movie and directed it. So the direction's fantastic. Cinematography is absolutely stunning and beautiful. I'm thinking about just all the shots where they show Virginia Madison and like the trance that Candyman puts her in, just like the close-up in on her eyes and just how they show and portray her eyes, which are just absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, just the way that they show them off and everything. So getting into Virginia Madison, I just think her performance is stunning. It's fantastic. She is just a stunning actress in general, just absolutely beautiful in this role, in this performance. I love the relationship between her and Tony Todd and Candyman and how it develops throughout the film and how it goes in just some really dark and sinister places, but also some kind of sweet and romantic places as well. It's a great performance. I think that she's severely underrated as an actress in this movie. I don't think a lot of people talk about her. She's not really what I would call a final girl, even though I would technically call this movie a slasher of sorts because he does kill people with a hook throughout the film. But she's just a great performer in this movie. She's absolutely fantastic and stunning. And, you know, you go into the special features and stuff with her, and even today, she's still a gorgeous, striking woman. So I appreciate her and her role in this movie and just her performance. I think she does a fantastic job. And this movie also just, it's so scary. Like, it's still a scary film. I watched it last night with all of the lights out. It still creeps me out. It creeps me out when I was a kid and watched this movie, when I was a teenager. All throughout my life, it's just been a really creepy and scary movie. A lot of that has to do with that score and just how it plays over and just draws you into everything that's going on in the movie. There's some great gore in this film. I actually watched the unrated version because with the set, you get the theatrical cut and the unrated cut. So I have to think that this one had a lot more blood and gore than the other ones. But yeah, it's some great blood and gore in this one. I'm just thinking of the scene where he just guts that guy in the back in the office, that psychiatrist. It's such a great scene as well. And he just kind of stands up and hovers above his dead body. And it's just, yeah, there's some great visuals, some great scenes, some great kills and gore sequences in this movie. Some great effects work, makeup effects work. You know, Virginia Madison at the end of the film looks super horrific and fantastic. I love her transformation and just what I wish that there was a proper follow, and maybe we'll get something in the new Candyman. I'm really hoping that they properly follow up just where we leave off with Helen's character at the end of the first Candyman, because I don't think they really address that in any of the sequels. And yeah, a great set design as well, just using that Chicago area, the areas of the ghettos of Cabrini Green where they go into. It's just some great set design. I'm thinking of when she walks into behind the walls, behind the mirror of that apartment complex, and you see the drawing of Candyman on the wall. There's just so many striking images in this movie, and I just think the set work is fantastic in here. So getting into the packaging, guys, I'll talk about this packaging here for a second. You do get, like I said, when I first ordered this, I got 2 slip covers with this. I'm pretty sure it came with a poster too. I don't know if I have the poster anymore, but these slip covers are awesome. I do use this other slip cover right here with the hook because I do like it a little bit better. And then you have the reversible cover art. It is a 2-disc set. With the theatrical version and the unrated cuts on here. And you have different special features on both of these sets as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, reversible cover art, 2 different slip covers that I have, but if you buy it right now from that affiliate link below, you probably won't even get a slip cover at this point. You'll probably just get you'll probably just get the regular Blu-ray case. And this was being sold at like Walmart like 2 years ago for 10 bucks. I don't know if you can still find it there right now. But yeah, just an excellent packaging on this one, an excellent release. Getting into the visuals, guys, some really solid visuals in this release. We got a new 2K restoration from a new 4K scan of the original negative. So hopefully, since they did scan this in 4K, at some point, maybe, hopefully, we'll get this. We'll get a 4K release from Screen Factory. I would absolutely love that. I would love to see this movie in 4K. It's absolutely gorgeous anyway, so I can't imagine what it would look like in 4K. I'm sure it would look just even more stunning. Getting into the audio, we got a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. So the sound design, like I said, it sounded great to me. The music is fantastic in this, like I've stated many times before. So no issues with the audio, but I am just listening to it on a soundbar. I don't have that proper setup as of right now. But getting into the special features, guys, on the disc 1, the theatrical cut, all the special features that you get in this, you get mostly, this is the audio commentary. So you get a new audio commentary with Bernard Rose and actor Tony Todd, which is really cool. I didn't get to listen to all the commentaries, but it's cool that you get these. Audio commentary with authors Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. Audio commentary with Bernard Rose, author Clyde Barker, producer Alan Powell, and actors Tony Todd, Virginia Madison, and Casey Lemon. So that is an older audio commentary. That's not a new one, but I have to imagine that's fantastic. All the talent involved in that audio commentary. You also get Sweets to the Sweet, the CANDYMAN Mythos, Clyde Barker, Raising Hell, Bernard Rose, storyboards, theatrical trailers, TV spots, and still gallery. So I have to assume that most of these special features, because they're not saying new on them, came out with like the original Blu-ray or DVD releases back in the day. So I don't think those are new to the set. But getting into the unrated cut disc, you get all of these new awesome special features in here. Including the Be My Victim, the interview, about a 10-minute interview with Tony Todd, which is absolutely fascinating. Just him talking about playing this iconic character and just what it means to like society to have a black horror icon, basically one of the first of his kind, and how people were kind of criticizing that in the beginning because they're like, oh, you're portraying the black male in the villain role, killing people. But he kind of fought back against that a little bit. And it's like, you have the horror icons of Jason, of Michael, of Freddy, you know, white Caucasian male that's turned into monsters. Why can't a black guy do the same thing? Like, in a lot of ways, I agree with him. I definitely agree with him. You want to have that representation in all different types of characters, superheroes, you know, romantic characters, and even your super villainous characters. You want to have that representation there as well. And CANDYMAN definitely fits that bill. He is the definitive black horror icon villain. So, and just does a fantastic job in the role. His interview was super fascinating. We also got a new interview with Virginia Madison, which is really awesome as well. She talks about just her makeup and how everybody was scared of her when they were shooting the movie and stuff like that. So, like I said, she's just a stunning woman. She still looks great even today. So, and I'm pretty sure she's in the new CANDYMAN. I thought I seen her in the trailer, but we'll find out. There's the writing on the wall, the production design of CANDYMAN, an interview with production designer Jan Ann Stewart, and a new Forbidden Flesh, the makeup FX of CANDYMAN, including interviews with special makeup artists Bob Keane, Gary G. Tunnelkiff, and Mark Coulier. There's also a story to tell, Clyde Barker's The Forbidden, writer Douglas E. Winter on Clyde Barker's Seminole Books of Blood, and CANDYMAN's source story. So that's about a 20-minute long interview with a writer that's kind of breaking down Clyde Barker's original story and just talking about the importance of him as an author and in the inspiration for this film, which is a really cool special feature. And then probably maybe my favorite special feature of this is just the urban legend unwrapping CANDYMAN, which goes into two film critics just talking about this movie and its social and cultural relevance in society and just how it continues to grow over time. So that was a really cool interview as well. So there are some great special features. This is definitely one of the best Screen Factory releases that they have ever done. And yeah, this is just a great movie, guys. Like I said, it's a 5 out of 5. It's a perfect movie to me. I love this movie. This is a great Screen Factory release. I will be leaving the link for purchase in the description below. So definitely, guys, if you can like this video, I would definitely appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and then comment down below your thoughts on Candyman. Also, let me know if you're gonna go see the new 2021 Candyman in theaters this weekend or next week, or anything like that. Comment that down below. Also, be sure to turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.